we are going to build this URL Shortener project. So and we will test it using the Postman tool. So basically the project is we will provide the long URL. So this is one example, and in response it will provide the shorter version of that URL. So when someone visits this shorter version, they will be redirected to this longer version of that URL. So to build this project using Node.js, we will use other 2-3 packages like Express, Short ID, and Valid URL. Okay. To create this project, create any folder anywhere you like and open it in VS Code. Make sure you have Node installed. Okay. And then I will open this terminal from here, and then what you can do is install those required libraries like npm i. So before this, let's initialize our project with the npm init --y. So this will create a blank package.json file. Okay, and then we can install the packages npm i express that we need. Then we also need like short id. So this will help us to generate the unique code IDs for our short URL like this. Okay. What else? Then we need valid URL, valid-url. So these are again packages, npm packages. Okay, I will make use of them. So valid URL, we need it because some idiots might provide a wrong URL or no URL at all, right? So we need to confirm that that the provided long URL is valid, right? Once you write this, hit enter. So it will install all the packages, and go to package.json. You can verify that 3 packages are installed. So in scripts, we will define our script, start script. So this will define our entry point, node.index.js. So this is basically nothing. It's like npm run start, and if I hit enter, it will run the node index.js, right? This command. So since we don't have index.js, that's why it is throwing error. Let's write some crap. Console log hello, save it, and then run again. See, it executing the node index.js command, and we are printing hello to the console. Okay, let's write actual code. Okay, so to do that, we will first need the Express framework to create the API, and we will require it since we installed the package. Require Express. Then we also need body parser. This is native package, so we will need it to parse the request in the JSON format. Okay, so we will require this also, body parser. And then we also need a short ID. This will generate a unique short ID. Require short ID package, short ID. We also need a valid URL, valid URL. Require valid URL. Okay, once all the definitions are done, we can make instance of express app, const app express, and I will define some variables like const port 3000, and then we will need base URL. So this base URL is for this part, like what is the base URL right here, from which we will redirect. So I will construct it here, http ://localhost : the port number. Yeah, and then I will start my app like app.listen on port 3000, and in callback function we can just print some message saying that our app is running. Console.log app is running, right? So this is a basic Node.js app. So it will do nothing if I do like npm run start. It is just saying like app is running. Okay, let's write our functionality. So I will close this. Hide it. Okay, let's write. So first we need to parse all the requests. So I will use npm use body parser .json. Okay, then using postman we will make http post request, right? So we need to define this post request. So app dot post. Yeah, so we will make a request to this route slash short colon 3000 slash short, right? And in here I will write a callback function. So like what will happen when we make this post request response, then we need to get the past value, right? So this long URL parameter. Yeah, I think RL is in smaller RL. Yep. So this is request.body. We will read that long URL value. Then we will first check it if the URL is valid or not. So we had this valid URL package, right? So we imported here at top. We will make use of that, like valid URL dot is URI, and we will pass that long URL in that. So if it is not valid, explanation not valid, then we will simply return it here, like return trace dot status 400, and in JSON we will send that invalid URL. Yeah, now let's say if the URL is valid, so we will proceed with the next code, right? Const URL code. So we need to generate the unique short URL code, right? So we'll make use of the short ID package here, short ID dot generate. So this will generate this ID, and we will construct our short URL here, like short URL const short URL equal to, so I will make use of template string. Then at start it is a base URL. Base URL is this localhost colon 3000. Again 3000 no need, we have defined that in port variable, right? So we will make use of that. Base URL slash URL code. So basically what we are saying here is our short URL will be http colon slash localhost colon 3000 slash the generated URL code. So if you look at the response, so that this is what we are saying. Yeah, this code, that's the our short URL construction. Okay, short URL. And once we do that, see here there is no database to store the binding. I mean, we need to store somewhere, right, that this unique ID belongs to this specific URL only, right? So since this is a intermediate level tutorial, I am not going to store it in the database, but it is good idea to store it in the database. So we will create our in memory database for now. Like I will store it in the object here at top. So once this app is running, so it will work, but as soon as we close this app, the memory variables are cleared, right? So it restarts, so it will forget all the mappings. So as long as our app is running, it will work, so don't worry about that. Yeah, so let object, so in object I will store this binding, right? So in here what I will do, I will store that like object of the URL code, and I will type here the long URL. So basically whatever code that is generated, so in that object, if I have to visualize, right, let me comment this. Okay, so we are storing, like, let's say ABCD will go to long URL. Okay, so that's what we are storing in this object, right? Okay, let me remove this. So that's what we have stored. Then once we stored that, we need to send response, right? res.json, and in here we will send the short URL itself. So I will save this and start our app. Node, yeah, npm run start. Since we have defined the start command, right, this will run this command, npm run start. Our app is running. Let's go to Postman and hit enter, send. Okay, it generated this unique URL, and if I copy this, go to browser, paste it, hit enter. Okay, so it is saying cannot get, and that is correct, because if we look at our code, there is no code that will there is no redirection code present in our app, right? So we need to write the redirection code. So once the user visits this URL, we need to redirect them to the longer version of that URL, right? So for that, we need to define one more route, app.get. So this will be a /: dynamic code value, and then callback function. So in here again, request response, 2 parameters we need for now. And in here what I will do, so we will get the dynamic code from the search params, request.params. So basically I'm saying this code value we need. Okay, so once we get that value, what we need to do, we need to get the longer URL from using that code value. And how we will get that? So we will query the database. Since we don't have database, we have stored it in object, so we will use fetch it using this, right? So I will just object of that code. So I should get the longer value that we have set it right here. So we will get the longer value of that code. Then it's always a good idea to check if the longer URL exists for the code or not. Maybe that value vanished, right? So it's good idea to check if the longer URL is present, right? So we will return that res.redirect. We will redirect user to its original long URL. Yeah. Otherwise, let's say that that longer value is not present in the database, so we will set the status res.status 404 not found, and then in JSON we will send it like no URL found, right? So let's save it, save, and we need to restart our app, npm run restart, and then let's go to this. Let's send the request. We got this URL. Let's copy it. Let's go to app and then paste it. There's a double quotes. So if I hit enter, it is redirecting me to the original version of this, right? So let's copy this another URL. Let's copy this, and then I will paste it here. Yeah, so we will generate the short URL for this long URL. I will send it request, it generated new. So let's copy the shorter version and let's visit it in new tab. It should redirect to the correct. Yeah, so our app is working. Okay, if I minimize this, so it is very simple intermediate level app. So we make the HTTP post request to short route, then we get the longer URL, then we check if the URL is valid or not. Let's test that also. So let's say I just put some random nonsense here and then send. So it is in fact working, like it is in the response it is saying 400 and invalid URL. Yep. So this check is also working. And then we will generate the shorter code, and we will construct our short URL, and we will store that in the object mapping, and we will send user the shorter version of the URL. And once someone visits that URL in the browser, right, so we will get the code. We will check if that if the longer version of that code URL exists or not. If it exists, we will redirect the user to the longer version. Otherwise, we will send that no URL found. So the example of that case is, let's say somebody, so let me generate the valid short URL. Okay, so basically currently I am showcasing that what happens with this case, right? If somebody visit this, and let's say this is random, which doesn't exist in our object variable, right? So it will throw that no URL found, which is correct, right? Because this is random thing and it doesn't exist. Yeah, that's it for this tutorial. I will provide a link to this code repository